Okay. She off your mind.
Chai! Now wow, people wey suppose talk truth to power don't off mic. And if we talk, now 500,000 they go summer us, call them hate speech. But fear not, Maiyegun don't come. He go torchlight every corner, nooks and cranny of all these bad people where they spoil our country. So my people make we laugh, oh, yo, yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh, yo, yo. My people make we shout, oh, yo, yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh, yo, yo. Maiyegun don't come, man of the masses, oh, yo, yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh, yo, yo. Maiyegun diary Politico, oh, yo, yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh, yo, yo. This one not the off in mind, oh, yo, yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh, yo, yo. Can in the touchlight every corner, oh, yo, yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh, yo, yo. Okay, some people be they holla say they want the power. Chai, them be promise us say we go get light and power. Nah. Them hustle sote they can't get the power. But now they know they do anything with the power. Every day, dollar just they get the higher power. Over naira, see them talk say make we off mind. But thank God say Maiyegun don't come. So my people make you loud, oh, yo, yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh, yo, yo. My people make we shout, oh, yo, yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh, yo, yo. Maiyegun don't come, man of the masses, oh, yo, yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh.
Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Good evening to you, good morning to you, and good afternoon to you from wherever you are watching from. This is Maiyegun live, and in remembrance of those who are victims of police brutality, especially during the NSAS protest last year, which is about to clock a year in the next few days. I'm having with me tonight my very good friend and brother, Omoyele Sowore. So we are going to have a one-on-one on what has been going on in the last 1 year. And we're going to go through a lot of, topics, which will range from the present insecurity in Nigeria, the revolution and the mobilization for liberation of people from the shackles of this organized cartel in Nigeria. So, at some point, if time permits, you would have the chance of calling in to possibly ask him some questions too. So we promise to make it interesting for you tonight. And so I have Omoyele Sowore waiting. So share the broadcast. Mr. President.
Hey, Maiyegun, how's it going?
I'm very well. How are you?
Very good, General.
It's good to see you.
Great to see you too again.
Thank you. So tonight, comrade, I want you to please, be so open with us. All right, be honest with us, because I want a conversation that will be kind of straight from the heart enough for people to really get what we are getting at today. Okay, we're going to talk about a lot of things, and you can ask me questions too when the conversation proceeds. But first thing first, how are you?
I'm as good as I can be in the circumstances that I'm in.
And we are also very sorry about that of your brother. I was looking for an opportunity to, send my condolences, and my friends too.
Yes, I thank you. I got your messages. Everybody said I'm trying to reduce the volume of my TV.
Sure.
I got all your messages, people, and there's nothing to say other than that. As I typically say, whether it is organized or not organized, when you do the kind of work we do, you must tick certain boxes, things that must happen to you before you arrive at your final destination. And this could be one of it. The loss of your own life could be one of it. it could also be part of an arrival to the final destination of the course. So
Talking
that's what
about
I'll
the
say.
destination. Mhm. Talking about destination here. This time
Yes.
in 20 somewhere around 2017, you gave us this new hope that maybe Nigeria was redeemable if all of us can at least prove what we always ask for, a change in the way things are around there. And you told the world where we gave the support as much as we could. Now, last year, you watched how Nigerian government opened fire on peaceful protesters, which they later deny or still continue to live in denial of. What would you say now? Because they are preparing for another one. You are not. What would you say the journey has been so far in your own words?
Well, you said what I want to disprove is that you said they are preparing for another one. We are not. We're preparing for another one.
Three.
They are probably the ones who are not prepared for the people. Because resistance will not stop. I can guarantee you that in Nigeria, not while people like me are alive. We are going to have an NSAS commemoration on October 20th, 2021 across Nigeria, including at Lekki Toll Gate, where the atrocities were committed last year. So they have liberty to come back and try to kill people, but they are going to find out very quickly that they can't kill everybody.
Hmm.
And I think they're realizing that already. They're taking some measures. They said they want to pay palliatives, and they want to pay those people who were killed, including people who were victims of NSAS violence last year. We don't believe that. We don't care about that. It's not what we're after. Today, before I came online, the police just agreed with those in Lagos that
Yeah.
they will protect them, during the peaceful protests in Lagos. Initially, the police said nobody had the right to commemorate NSAS. And I was the first person to respond to them that we will have NSAS commemoration across the country, whether they like it or not. We're going to have in Abuja, and over 10 states have signed up in addition to Abuja and Lagos as we speak. But that is not to say that they still cannot spring surprises. I will be naive not to think that the Nigerian government is incapable of perpetrating more evil against Nigerian people. So, but we're prepared for what we know how to do. And I'm sure that they're prepared for what they know how to do.
Do you still have that same energy? I love asking you this question, by the way, comrade, right? Do you still have that belief that something can still be saved in Nigeria after we have witnessed in the last 1 year alone, including what I'm still going to ask or going to on this program? Do you still have that belief?
You keep asking these questions from me, and I've answered it. My past interviews with you, I've told you some of the stories about, how social movements march in countries, and that they don't happen overnight. There was a time I remember I came on your show. It was everybody shouting about Odudua. We're going. There was even a date which has passed. I'm not opposed to it, but I said it's not a cakewalk. You're not just going to have Odudua just because you have a rally in London or a rally in Ibadan and Lagos. No, it's going to be bigger than that. There was a time our Biafran brothers said they're ready. And then what did they do next? They went and abducted Kanu from Kenya. And he's back in Nigeria. And nobody has been able to get him out. Do you know why? Because a revolutionary battle is not a cakewalk. And this is what I've been warning our people about, that don't take it for granted, that at the end of the day, what is going to break the back of these people is the collaboration of everybody. When people get in trouble, what do? We collaborate. Even when Kanu had problems, I didn't need to be told. I went to the courts. I wanted to see him. When he was to be brought to court last time, there are 5,000 IPOB members in Abuja. Police surrounded the court. It was army. I was the one who went there, was arrested. My clothes were torn, because it is a time for collaboration. It's a time for that necessary synergy that we need to break the back of oppression. Because the organization, the group holding Kanu in Abuja, is a Nigerian state that is comprised of Yorubas, Hausas, and Igbos. In fact, the person who brought Kanu to court with the hood over his head is a DSS guy I know who is Igbo. So he did not refuse the job. So the Nigerian state is made of conglomeration of wicked people from all the tribes. Without breaking the back of the Nigerian state, you cannot break up Nigeria on the surface of the internet or with a few rallies, whether they happen in London or Glasgow or in America, because there were people who told me that during the UN, they will get Yoruba out of Nigeria. Oh, I said, that would be great. I would love to learn how that works. Just one rally at the UN General Assembly. What did Nigerian state do? He went and brought money, gave some people to counter them right there in the streets of New York. And that's the end of the story. I'm not saying all these things are not necessary, but what I've said consistently on your show, go and watch it, is that at the end, all of us, we need to come back together. All the oppressed people of Nigeria, or this entity known as Nigeria, because this was the way the country was created. And I also said to you, and don't forget, that those who are calling for a breakup of Nigeria are planning a revolution and will be treated like revolutionaries, right?
You did.
And that is what is happening now. Sunday Igboho is being treated like a revolutionary, as an insurrectionist, the same way I was treated. When I was treated that way, some people were mocking me. They said, oh, if Sowore had been fighting for Yoruba nation, nobody would have touched him. But there was a guy that came out and fought for Yoruba nation. They went to his house and killed 2 people, arrested everything there, including his cat. Took him. He was lucky to get away. Otherwise, I'm sure he would be dead by now. Because he sent a special force down there to kill him. So, if you mock me because I'm asking for a revolution, you have seen the consequences now, that asking for anything in Nigeria that concerns your fundamental right is an affront on these men of impunity who live off of your sweat in Nigeria.
Now, talking about these differences that should normally be our united.
Nobody should live under any illusion.
Yeah, I'm talking about the attacks on the.
Nobody should live under any illusion.
Sorry, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yeah.
Oh, great. So, talking about the kind of distrust, despite all the appearances you've made for virtually everyone, because you seems to see everyone being persecuted in Nigeria today for asking for anything at all, being persecuted. You see all of them as revolutionaries, but they don't see you as a liberator, somebody like a revolutionary for real. But you treat them that way.
I don't have to be seen in any.
Yeah, you are always there. What do now? My question actually is this. My question is this. My question is this, right? That what do you think is really making the distrust, despite every effort you've made to show to them that whatever you call yourselves, Nigeria will treat you as a secession. You refuse to back you up till now. What do you think would be that make that distrust that strong?
It is a historical thing about the way Nigeria was created. It was created, put together to create this distrust and to live off of it whenever people want to unite. It happened to Awolowo, small western region. It betrayed him. Happened to Abiola, small, the whole Nigeria. The people that first betrayed him were Yorubas. I've said it many times.
That's right.
So, even Sunday Igboho, the people that led the DSS and the army regiment that went to try and kill him were Yorubas. When they left, they were the ones who brought them back and said he's hiding in the ceiling. The people who gave him up in Benin Republic were Yorubas. So the distrust is always promoted by those who are interested in seeing the disunity. The problem is that some of the agitators are too, they are too much in a hurry to see that it is a big picture you know, and because of that, we just can't respect even our own views. I've been in Yoruba groups in Clubhouse where you can't say two things, they start insulting you. And I tell them, oh, is this a Yoruba nation we are going to go to if I can't talk, even in Clubhouse? They will ask you to shut up because they're intolerant of any view that is not, you know, in tangent with what they had already made up their minds about. But you can't do that when you are fighting monsters like this.
Comrade, like from experience, where people trust people so much,
ignore,
get sold off.
You can't ignore these problems and just pretend that they're not there. And as long as we have the distrust, the people who are managing our oppression, they are happy. They're very happy. So, you know, if Boho doesn't see eye to eye with Sowore, Kano people don't see eye to eye with Sowore. Thank God. The Shiites and Sowore, they know they agree. Thank God. Because they know that if all these oppressed people come together, it will be over in 24 hours. But as long as we don't come together, it will take forever. It is just like that biblical thing that they say about the Israelites who are supposed to go to the promised land in 40 days and didn't make it there in 40 years. You know, because there was distrust. There was a time they even wanted to kill Moses. You know, they started to complain to him that the journey is too long, that they were better off in Egypt. They want to go back. But this is something that the oppressors promote very well. And Nigeria is a fertile ground for them to promote division, you know, and have people accusing themselves on that ground. They did it to Abiola during the June 12th era. You know, first it was the army, and then they entered the civilians, and they entered traditional rulers. Don't trust Abiola. They started circulating some, you know, information amongst themselves that he has money. At the time, they said it was because he became president because he wanted to pay himself back the contract that he was owed by the federal government. He will bankrupt Nigeria. And the man who did not hand over power to him eventually stole $5 billion from Nigeria, Abacha. How much was Abiola owed? Maybe $800 million. Even if he paid himself $800 million, we would still have had $4,200,000,000 to spend. That's if assuming that Abiola himself did not start stealing. But I'm just making up this so that you can understand how this conspiracy that creates distrust comes from. But I'm not looking for people to be with me or support me. No,
you know,
I'm looking to be myself, the original, you know, committed to what I believe in. If anybody's oppressed, my antenna goes off to protect the person. It doesn't matter whether you are Odudua or you are IPOB or you are a student at the University of Ekiti State University who is being forced to wear uniform to school. You know, I'll fight for you. You can come out and still abuse me. It doesn't matter. You know, there is a guy who used to work with Fayoshe. His name is Lere Olayinka. I'm saying this for the first time. When he was at National Institute of Journalism in Lagos, I went to fight for him because they expelled them. Him and Wotunde Oladunjoye, who was from Ogun State. I went to fight for them. They took them back. I was detained. They didn't even know that I was detained. I was detained. Falana came and got me. This was like in 90s. You know, when I came back to Nigeria, every day, if this guy doesn't abuse me on Facebook, when he was with Fayoshe, he cannot be happy. But now, is it not over? Fayoshe is out of office. He's out of office. Tomorrow, if he gets entangled in anything, I'll support him. You know, even Lady K that we're talking about. Lady K made a video calling me a bastard. It doesn't matter. The bastard in this case is the expressing herself. She's expressing her frustration against what was going on in the country and their own intention to just break away, get away out of this. But what we say is that, as the Yoruba say that, you know, Tomode Bambegi,
Thank you. Sure. I think we are having a bit of gap in our audio. I don't know if you can hear me.
Maybe it's my network.
I think it's
I
the
have no
network.
control over.
So it's giving us a lot of gap in there, like
Yeah.
so spacious and all that. But we'll manage it. Sure. You know, one of the things I really admired
Go ahead.
about your about your advocacy over time is that's what you just explained now, where you don't treat them as IPOB or treat anyone as this or that. Like you said, you treat everybody as same because injustice to one is an injustice to all, they say. Okay. Nigeria has gotten to a stage that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu got kidnapped. Oloye Sunday Igboho also currently holed up in Benin Republic. And then we ask ourselves, you you are currently holed up in Abuja as well, where you can't really go out there. So we are all living under that bondage of that, what do you call it, that dictatorship. But you
Yeah.
still have a chance of saying, well, whatever they want to do, they should do it. You will go and support everyone in their captivity in a way. What do you think? Because maybe,
Absolutely. I'm
yeah,
heading back. I'm heading back to. I'm heading back to the Federal High Court for Mazi Kanu on Thursday. You know, I'll go back there. It doesn't matter if I'm the only person that will go there. I'll go there. They may not allow me to enter the courtroom, but I will go. You know, because
yeah,
they carried
yeah,
out
there's actually
an
one thing I wanted
injustice.
to add to it, comrade, show, is the fact that we know those who wants to break out of Nigeria. Last year, you were one of those. In fact, you were the one I remember very well, and it was around the 8th of October when everybody said we are going to protest tomorrow and end SARS on Tuesday. And so many people started backing out. And you said we will start in Abuja,
Yes.
and you did. But it got to a point whereby talking about trust, talking about collaboration, and the rest of that, just 4 days later,
Yes.
some influencers hijacked that, and you were completely pushed out of that venue. These are the people who are not, these are those who said they wanted better Nigeria, which you believe that with collaboration of everybody, it can work. If the Biafran says they don't understand you, if the if the Yoruba says, oh, we don't understand him very well, we want him to be on our side. A year after, you are out again, telling people that if they want to stop the remembrance of those they killed a year ago, definitely they should be prepared to kill more. Yeah? That means you still trust those who sold out a year ago. Where is that?
You see, this is exactly what I'm telling you about experience. And sometimes these have historical connotations. They tried to push me out. I wasn't pushed out. In fact, it was me who pulled back. Even after that experience, a lot of them apologized to me right there on the venue. We're sorry. It was the government arrangements. Some of those things we saw because some of them who were enters were doing were APC people, some of them were PDP people. And when it comes to Sowore, there is a mutual hatred for me by those two political parties. That's one thing that can quickly unite them. So, in fact, there was a guy who was doing uh, an online giveaway that if they see Sowore, harm him and all that. So, but what happened eventually was that the government was trying to select some leaders it could speak with for the NSAS movement. And they saw me as a threat immediately that if I have an upper hand, I will not give them a soft landing. That was where that collaboration, they actually did, well, they were having meetings with influencers. You remember when NSAS started, they went and called this dancer, uh, Naira Marley, into a meeting. He said he's a representative of the youth. But when they discovered that Naira Marley doesn't have control over the youth, they abandoned him. Then they went and brought the video to Abuja. And when he got there, they intimidated him. He was so embarrassed. He later revealed recently that he ran away from Nigeria. You know, they were furiously looking for how to foist a leader on the NSAS movement. And the NSAS movement, yes, was leader at the beginning, but it was an error not to have a leader when it became critical. And what was the critical part of it? It was
Um, I think that's a network issue there. So we're just going to hang on and see if that comes back. Sure, that's a network. Oh, and I was actually enjoying that because we are now getting to the art of our conversation. But for some reason, that
Sorry,
that
I think
it's all
yeah.
right. Is that
So,
you now?
yeah, so what I'm saying here is
Please.
that there's no problem, there's no problem with that because not even a year later, few weeks
Mm.
later, so many of the influencers that we are talking about abandoned the NSAS protesters. We couldn't find them. They left town.
See,
Some
show,
of them are
show.
still back.
I'm
They are
coming to
not
that.
back to Nigeria right now.
I know. I was coming to that.
I was one of the people
I was actually coming to that
putting
because
out.
you did all of that. You saw that that was a window for Nigerians, at least for the first time, without
Across the
anybody
country.
influencing them.
So right now, it's
Go on.
about my own personal commitment to the struggle. It's not how people see me. I'm not looking for acceptance. If I was looking for acceptance, I would be taking photographs of big men in Nigeria. And if you are looking for acceptance and you are looking for safety,
Hmm.
this is who I am. This is who I've been my entire adult life.
Thank you, Show. You see, what I was trying to say there was that we saw how everything played out, okay, last year. How some of you who actually received physical attacks, arrests, and body, bruises and all of that to show for it. Like a year after, when these guys, which we later found out that some people actually cashed out, right? So here we are again.
Yes.
Somebody like yourself and so many others too, they believe that those who died a year ago, right, they should not die in vain. And we begin to see some strange faces again as a spokesperson or keynote addressers to remember answers. Some of them were those who actually supported the government at the time. How do you feel? Again, the reason why I'm pushing it to you, I'll tell you. But here you are. How do you feel finding out that they cashed out indeed, right? And you never backed out, but you are not to be trusted. Some of them are still to be trusted. I mean,
Maiyegun, we exist in different circles. I said we exist in different circles, and levels when it comes to the struggle for justice. I'm a person who fights for social justice. And I'm blind. I have a lot of blind spots. I would admit that. I'm blind to ethnicity. I'm blind to religion. And all those things that control people's minds around here, I'm blind to them. What I want to see is a just and fair and egalitarian society, whether it is a small corner or a big corner. I am not after people who cashed out. The public can tell who cashed out and who didn't cash out. The public could tell who to go with and who not to go with. But mine is to keep doing what I know what to do best, which is to do what my conscience tells me is right in these circumstances. I am not competing with anybody. I've said this several times with people. It's the reason why I don't get upset when people attack me personally on these matters. I'm not competing with anybody. I'm just trying to be who I am. And I've always said that I want to live in a society that is free, accepting, and non-discriminatory because I've had a chance to live in a place that provides, a semblance of that. And that's what I want to see become the future for my children too, and the future of other kids. Days of Judas.
okay, great.
And they will always cash out, but cashing out will never save them. What our generation is focus. What will save our generation is integrity, dignity. What will save our generation is courage. What will save our generation is unity of purpose. And that is what has eluded that had we gotten over all these suspicions, our egos, and confusion, sometimes ignorance to a large extent, we would have solved our problems a long time ago. Imagine that NSAS was cohesively organized as it was going on. Even after they killed at Lekki Tollgate, if there was another action on the 21st and they continue.
Sorry, we keep having that break because
people would have been forced. Even those in government would have been forced to realize that the power belongs to the people. But what did we do? Everybody's
we keep having that issue. So sorry about that show.
It is the government that is the government that is detaining me, that is detaining Igboho's people, that is detaining Kano's people. All of us are held up by a federal dictatorship, or a dictatorship that is based in Abuja, controlled by some people. All of us must fight that dictatorship and break the back first before we can think about going anywhere, because it's obvious that they have that reach even beyond the shores of this country.
They do.
They do. We're living in an era of impunity. There's nothing you can do about it except to stop it.
Let me ask you this, because you have great message for those who take their time to listen to you. Okay, you are grounded so much in what you understand about the problem of that place and how you think people can have their liberty back. Okay, but you are a media person. Everyone would expect that this message of yours, she always give you, and your personality, she always give you this free ticket and easy access to different platforms so that you can reach the real audience who can understand what that revolution means towards every of their own desire and demand. What is your relationship with this Nigerian media that they blank you out completely and continue to make this a bit more difficult, I would say? Like, oh, sorry about that. I think we just lost a show. The network keeps going back and forth. So what I wanted to get into is just how much Sowore himself is ready to possibly, come clean on referendum, which, like he said just now, is going to be a process, right? That is going to be beyond just rallies, protests, and the rest of that. There will be more that will actually help us or get us closer to whatever everybody's demand is. So I am going to take a quick break when I'm going to bring Sowore back. So until then, for those who are still watching, please like the video, share it, and we will be back in a minute.
Governor Obiano went to complain to President Buhari that politicians were inducing false flag operations in the East. And you know that for a governor to say that, don't forget, when asked on channel television, Governor Zodima also said the same thing, that there were false flag operations being carried out by politicians. Obiano has repeated it. I have said that on this station twice. I've said that on channels. I've said that on the BBC. That these are false flag operations being committed by fifth columnists working for the Buhari administration.
Do you have your claim? Do you have your proof?
Yes, one proof, let me tell you. I was in Owerri the day when there was the raid and burning of the police headquarters. I watched from my hotel room as they operated for 3 hours, 20 minutes. Later in the morning, I went to the police headquarters to check. I was looking. No single gunshot. When I later asked, was any policeman killed? They said no. Did people kill anybody? They said no. So how could that happen? For 3 hours, 20 minutes, and there is no reaction. That meant there was a stand down. And the only authority that can instruct an actionable stand down is order from above. With that, I concluded these things are staged. So, and if you look at the government, they're not honest.
Why do you think someone will be interested in staging such actions?
Because the people who work for President Buhari are the same people who work with him for Sani Abacha. It took the death of Sani Abacha for Sergeant Rochas to come confess at the Puta panel that all they were doing were false flag operations.
What exactly are they trying to gain?
What were they trying to gain under Sani Abacha government when they were doing false flag operations, trying to create impression? It was the what do they call it, Nadeco. So what they were trying to do there is that a bunch of
Sure.
Yes.
Sorry about that. I think, we will understand the network of Niger. So I wanted to, the question I was to ask then, which was simply about issue of trust and all of that, right? Now we've gotten to a stage where you personally said now that you are looking even forward on how to get everybody to understand that whatever they are looking for, whatever everybody's anger or disagreement or why they want to do this or that, except everybody comes together under one united revolution, right? This is why I wanted to ask that you are in the media. Your message are so good. There are some of us who took time to listen to you all the time. And we feel like, why? With so much dedication you've shown so far, how is it so hard for you to have an easy ride into the world of Nigerian media for the larger audience locally to be able to listen to you and make this a little bit easier for you? Why is it so difficult to break into that Nigerian media?
The Nigerian media, the traditional media platforms in Nigeria are owned by criminals. I'll say that without even flinching. I can mention newspaper. The most powerful newspaper in Lagos is owned by Bola Tinubu. Ibori owns a newspaper they call Daily Independent. Oji Uzokalu is the owner of Sun News Online. Dokwesi is the owner of this TV station called AIT. The owner of Arise TV is Udoka Obiagbena. The owner of Channels TV is John Momo. These guys don't care about you. They don't even allow us. I was supposed to be on trial on Arise TV. They called me on their own 4 days ago. And they canceled on me because I'm sure the government is telling them don't interview anybody about NSAS. And so the interest is not there to hear us out. In fact, what has saved us, what has seen us go this far is social media. People like you and me who are doing shows on these platforms, and even on social media, they are going after social media platforms now to water down their messages by reporting you and making sure that you are taken down as frequently as possible. They have lawyers hired that are on Instagram, on Facebook, who are reporting people professionally, even on Twitter. If they can ban Twitter, who are you? If they can ban Twitter, where we all speak to ourselves above their head, they shut it down. So even if you want to be a media platform in Nigeria that wants to do good, these people have the power to shut you down, except you're like really very stubborn like me. So this is what you get when you have people of this nature in government. And again, if you look at the distribution of this media platform, by the way, they are mostly based in the South. In fact, the most powerful section of the media in Nigeria is referred to as the Lagos-Ibadan, axis of Nigerian media. How is it that it's difficult for a tribune to talk to me and put me on a headline, but prefers to say that Buhari did something that he never did? How is it difficult for the Guardian to talk to me? How is it difficult for all these guys, like you said, to do it? It's because there's also a pecuniary interest involved. They have to make money. And making money in Nigeria, the biggest business in Nigeria is government. Government is the biggest business. Even banks rely on government to make money. So you don't really have like an independent, informal or formal economy outside of government in Nigeria. And if somebody is giving you advert and government knows that person give you adverts, they have business with government, they're going to tell the person that you're the one promoting Sowore and we're going to shut you down. And they shut down the person. They shut down Twitter. So why are you surprised that nobody is talking to us? Nobody wants to talk about revolution because it harms or hurts the ruling class in Nigeria. They know that the moment it becomes a household name, it's over for them. And they sponsor a lot of things and a lot of people. They sponsor people against even you. There are trolls that are resident on your page.
They've reported my pages. They've sent me some legal documents asking me to make blah, 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 blah. But I just don't make any fuss about them. You are right.
Yes. How many times have they taken down your various pages? They're taking pages of people with 2 million followers on Instagram down on a daily basis. You know, Gossip Nigeria will be taken down 3 times now. Tunde not really taken down 3 times now. And I think Sam Clef was taken down a few days ago. They're going to keep taking down these platforms if they are too open to the kind of ideas that could lead to this kind of upheaval or revolt that we are calling for. So, because even these social media platforms, they are not very interested in changing your country for you, anyways. They are concerned about their bottom line,
the profit. So
that's why the government of Nigeria said Twitter is negotiating. Otherwise, why should Twitter be negotiating with a bunch of loonies in Abuja? You can just take down Twitter. We'll figure out a way to get on Twitter.
Yeah, Nigeria has gotten to a stage that Nigerian government have the power, the reach, the resources to track down activists, jail them on trumped up charges and all of that, all over the world, tracking people down. But they have no power to recover weapons that could bring down a presidential jet. They have to pay them. Sure, Nigeria pay terrorists to recover anti-aircraft bomb. That's the state.
How's that news to you when there are people who have terrorist links who are ministers in the government? So how's that news to you? They're just passing money to their colleagues in the bush. That's all. The army, the Nigerian army told you that they are rehabilitating and recruiting Boko Haram into the army. And an army general said it publicly that Boko Haram people are likely to become president one day. Which is the easiest way to become president? You get into the army, write all kinds of exams, go and do degrees while you're there. Somebody writes the exam for you. And one day, you've been long in the army, you decide that you want to change Nigeria's religion to this thing. You do a coup, and you drive everybody away and kill those people who are not supporting you. The moment you have a gun, you are probably one of the most powerful people on earth. So, how is that news to you? That's the question I'm asking.
Then why is everybody running mad towards 2023 then? Sure. What's going on? Why are you interested in when this is happening?
It's part of the distraction. You know, they distract you from time to time. They throw, curveballs at you so that you don't know where to catch it. And people get excited. There are people who right now are no longer talking about IPOB anymore. They're no longer talking about Yoruba Nation anymore because it's no longer sexy. And they're talking about 2023. Some of them I know, they used to talk to me about Yoruba Nation. Now, they're asking us to go and get PVC, which is their poverty verification card in Nigeria.
Yeah, verification card.
Yes.
Poverty validation card.
It's PVC, poverty verification card. That's what I call it. Yes. So they tell you all these things so that you get confused. And the elections will come and go. It will elect one of the invalids. One journalist reached out to me today. I won't mention his name online here. It's like, oh, I wrote an article that recommended that you should go to the Senate. I said, what's wrong with you people? Why is it that you always want your best to go to nowhere and you want the worst to go to the best places? The most important position in Nigeria is the office of the president. You want either Tinubu or Atiku to become president. That's your plan because you guys have met with them in the media and decided that you will support them and tell all these young people they can't win. And so that's the plan. This is a conspiracy against Nigerian people. Otherwise, what is Tinubu with half a leg? Since he came back from London after he had surgery, you could see how he's wobbling around. He has this plastic smile on his hand. His hand is shaky. You know, why would you do that to any country in the world? No matter, even if the person is your father, won't you just tell him, Daddy, go and take care of your health?
Mm.
You know, or is it Atiku? Atiku cannot walk from here to there without 2 doctors following him. I am not in any way saying that because we are young, we can't fall sick too. All of us can have debilitating diseases at any stage in life, including when you're a toddler. But at least the ones that you know have been caused by age, you have to be careful about those. But most importantly, what have they got to offer? Nothing. These people have been tested and tried, and they have nothing to offer you. When Atiku was vice president, the only thing he offered Nigeria was universities allocated to himself and selling Nigeria properties to themselves through where they put El-Rufai in those days. BP, Bureau of Public something that they put in.
Something like that, yeah.
That's why they sold all the properties to themselves, companies to themselves. What did Obasanjo come back with? He couldn't even construct a road from Lagos to Ota. But he got the Bell University for himself, got the public, extorted money from public to build himself a library that is actually a 5-star hotel in Abeokuta, but built himself mansions, took care of all his friends through all these shady deals. So these people are the same people you are telling me to go to Senate for so that they can become the president, and I'll be in the Senate shouting, and one day the Senate president will say, throw Mr. Sowore out of the place. I told him, I never want to go to, if I want to go to the Senate, I would have gone for the Senate. I want to be president of Nigeria because that is where my ideas can work. And for the little time that we brought ideas to Nigeria in 2018, 2019, the ideas we brought, they are still in it up till tomorrow.
And they are rubbishing them, yeah, because they couldn't really implement them.
Yes, the idea about minimum wage was from us, but our minimum wage wasn't 30,000 naira; it was 100,000 naira to begin with. We had an idea to bring in workers to recruit people to build Nigeria. We said we'll turn Nigeria into a construction site. Then they called Festus Keyamo to go and buy wheelbarrow and cutlasses for people in 775 local governments. They hired 750,000 people. They can't pay them after 1 month. Everybody is scattered. They have all kinds of quasi ideals and money wasting ideas. They have money that they give to farmers who don't go to farm through the Central Bank of Nigeria. They just give it to politicians. So there's enough money in the system. If you have somebody who's got the digital brain, not these analog leaders, as I like to call them, who can make things work for everybody in Nigeria. And you want me to go to a place where I only appear once a week for a few hours, instead of where I have the capacity to run and make things work. So sometimes it makes you feel like even some of these Nigerian intellectuals or pseudo-intellectuals, I like to call them.
Yeah, pseudo-intellectuals.
Yes, they don't have anything upstairs. So it is what it is. But where we are, to me, I'm not even rushing into election. I'm of the opinion that we
to show.
Yes.
You know, you said something about something about property validation card. Yeah.
Verification card. Yeah,
validation card. You don't believe in their election anymore. Would I be right to say you believe in their election?
We have reached a point where we must press pause in the electoral system and say to ourselves, we are not holding elections again anytime soon, except these issues are resolved.
That brings me to this next question, okay? So what would we be doing? Why we put election on hold? What would we be changing? Some said new constitution. What do you think?
That is why Nigerians, I've always said it, until you have a revolution, because you're not going to change this country without everybody just saying enough is enough one day for 2 weeks, that we are not going anymore. Because even people who are asking for new constitution, they somehow, I don't know how people think, they think that Buhari will wake up one day with all his cabal members and give you a new constitution. If this was possible, we would have had a constitution during Obasanjo's time. We've had one during Jonathan's time. Every one of them tried to make a constitution. But leaders who are selfish would never give you what will give you freedom. It's not possible. It is the people who will demand what they want. I think you guys heard about Sudan. There was a revolution in Sudan. They drove away al-Bashir. A year later, the military came around. They are messing up. Yesterday again, the Sudanese went back on the streets. So there's no timetable. There's no timetable for the period of time that you can fight until you get your liberation. The French Revolution that people hear about all the time, they think it happened overnight. It took 10 years before the French people got it right. And after 100 years, they had to do another mini revolution. When those people they drove away in 1789, came back in 1879, 1889 again, 100 years later, they had to be on the streets to tell them, no, we don't accept this kind of nonsense. 100 years ago, we taught your dad the lesson. You come back again, you're getting that lesson right. And that was how the shenanigans stopped in France with regards to the oppression of the people of France. So nothing happens overnight. I am of the opinion that we should pause the elections. Make sure that we sack the current people in INEC. All these lies that electronic transmission of results will take you anywhere. I'm sorry to say, people are just confused. Electronic transmission of results is that if I rig an election, I transmit it.
That's right. And it's actually it's number input. What you punch into the computer is
going to input it into a server. So somebody can write a script and put on that server that converts Sowore's votes to Maiyegun's votes. Simple script. And it changes everything. So electronic transmission is nothing except if you have honest people managing the National Electoral Commission. And the crop of people there now, it can never happen. They have never conducted a credible election. Since 2019, that I know, that I participated in, they can never, look at the one they did in Kogi, the one they did in Edo. Everything is by violence. The people who conduct election in Nigeria are people in the security services who force everybody to vote for their candidate, and then they force a professor from a university to announce the result.
I saw a police officer. I saw a police officer voting at PDP Congress. A police officer.
Oh yes, I mean, a lot of they've set up new polling units now in the country. Most of the polling units, there are some traditional rural palaces that have 6 polling units in them. How do you win an election in a traditional palace, in the palace of a traditional ruler, if you don't go and bribe him in advance? It's not possible now.
So
because
would I be right there?
Rulers themselves very political people. They are partisan hacks. They work for the highest bidders. So how do credible people win election when there are 6 polling units in a traditional ruler's office?
It's already
look at local government election. Look at local government elections conducted by states. Any states conducting local government is the party in that state that wins the majority of the seats. Once in a while, maybe to make it look good, they'll give one person. And that one person, by the time he goes 3 months in office, they'll force him to join them, or they drive him out of the party, or or the place. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, sure. That means somehow maybe we are beginning to find get to a sort of common ground now where we will begin to see through ourselves. IPOB doesn't believe there should be an election, even though they don't completely agree that what they are doing is a revolution on its own and it needs to be at a very larger scale. But they don't believe in an election because they believe it's a charm that it's a sham that you just have to go and validate for them. Can we say this could be a link that others should get to know that it is an act of insanity to do same thing again and again and expect a different result? Do you think the revolution now and then the IPOB members, would you say that's another common ground we have found there? Something that we can say, yeah, if Sowore says let's go out tomorrow, and average IPOB member should feel confident to be part of that. Would you agree with that? Because they've always said no election.
if you follow my postings on elections, I mean on IPOB matters,
Yeah.
since Kanu was brought back into the country, I posted that I support the pausing of the election in Anambra, except Kanu is released, as a condition for his release. But you see, elections in Nigeria are very tricky things. Even though IPOB might be telling you that they don't want election in Nigeria, there's an election happening in Anambra very soon. And I can tell you that even though the election might not happen at all, they will announce a winner.
Sure.
And the winner will be imposed with military might on the people of Anambra. And it's likely to be Andy Oba, who is an APC member. In fact, it is in the interest of the APC people that elections don't hold in Anambra, because there's no way Andy Oba naturally could have defeated Charles Soludo in a free and fair election in Anambra State. But they are happy that elections will not happen on the scale that they want. So what IPOB needs to do is to decide what exactly it wants. If you want to pause the election, it has to be total. You can't say it's halfway. And then some people who are also IPOB members are also saying, well, we want election in a particular state. Because then you see that interest, you saw that it happened even in 2019. IPOB initially announced no election, and we woke up one day and they said, well, they will let elections go on. And that created a lot of animosity and confusion amongst even their members. It created even bad blood in the leadership of IPOB at that time. If they reach out to us today and say, let's have a common agreement that until we achieve certain conditions, we are not having elections, we'll sign up to that. In fact, that's our position. We don't need to sign up to that. That's the position we are pushing. Now, that we don't find this election to be something that is credible. So don't tell me to go and obtain PVC if you cannot protect the outcome of the PVC, because that's what the celebrities do. They go and meet them, or they start harassing everybody. They start blackmailing everybody. Oh, do you want Nigeria to change? Obtain your PVC. We obtained PVC in 2018. I was one of the people campaigning for PVC collection. You did too, because you came home and you wanted to run.
I started a political party show. I started a political party.
So we wanted to convince people that brand new ideas could come. We thought it would work. But what did you see when we got on the ground? The PVC did not count. It didn't count. The PVC was just a plastic that you were holding in your hand until the big man came, paid for it. I saw a guy somewhere who had 200 PVCs in his hand in one of the polling units. And after we had left, he went and voted with it for another party. INEC itself drives around over 2 million to 3 million PVCs during governorship elections that they sell to the highest bidder and help them rig the election with them for them. So it is not a PVC matter. It is that the life of this country needs a fresh lease. And one of it is to say, look, wait a minute, we are not doing anything until we have a new constitution. And a new constitution will define how to conduct election, what type of government we are going to have, the right to self-determination, human rights at all levels, how we exist, whether we are developing power or we become a real federation or a confederation, whatever we want to become. But I'll tell you, these things are not going to be done just by sitting down and hoping that they will happen or they will fall in our laps. It has to be as a result of constant struggle, very serious struggle. And that struggle is what I have labeled correctly from time to time as a revolution. Any direction that we face other than the rubbish we are facing now is a revolution. Those who want to break up Nigeria, I say to you again, you are asking for a revolution. Those who want Nigeria to be what do they call it? Restructured.
To be different from the Nigeria we are seeing today. At least if they still want Nigeria, definitely this is not the Nigeria.
From this unworkable, experiment is a revolution. Yes, but if we are not careful, we can do counter-revolutionary activities too, which will hurt everybody at the end. And we are seeing the results of that. Our lack of cooperation, our lack of understanding of ourselves has led us to a point where we are so diminished now in power. Now, suddenly we've lost Igboho,
Yeah.
We've lost him. Whether he even when even if he
lost momentum, just like what happened in NSAS.
yeah. So yes, we lost momentum, and suddenly people who said, "Go ahead, we are behind you," we don't even see them anymore. I saw you had a rally at Glasgow, 10 people there. It should have been thousands of people. The massive rally that was promised in New York, it didn't happen because we've lost momentum, one particular momentum, because we are not united. You understand? Because when we want to go and have rallies in New York, if you want to do rally in New York, said, "Oh, we don't want to go with Sowore's people." What did Sowore people do to you? We're asking for a better country, you know. I told somebody today before I came on your show, I was also interviewed by somebody. We were in a clubhouse and they were saying, "Oh, Sowore, why are you still supporting this?" I said, "Look, if there's Biafra where I can find water, where I can find electricity, good schools, and there's no oppression, I will go and seek asylum there now because I'm being oppressed in Nigeria." But you know what? If you create these independent republics and you are next to a rogue state, the rogue state will destroy you. I tell you that. Imagine that America had to go to Iraq and Afghanistan just to prevent some crazy people to be traveling to America to be blowing up the country. Do you know how far apart those? So imagine that Afghanistan was next door neighbor to the US. As a failed state, the US will have to worry about it. They will have to worry about Afghanistan every day so much that they themselves will become broke and failed because of the rogue states next door to them. Even the little ones like Mexico and the other states that are bordering the US that are not prosperous, they're having problems with them. They're having problems with Cuba because of poverty in Cuba. They're having problems with Haitians. And they're not even next door neighbors. They're just failed states around them. They must think about them every year. How do we survive people running away from Haiti to come and see us, to come on our shores? How do we survive? So imagine that the Biafran nation is broken up from Nigeria. And you are next to the rogue former Nigeria with all these bad guys, Fulani headsmen, bandits, Boko Haram, terrorists, the Nigerian government, politicians, officials, armed robbers, kidnappers. All of them are surrounding you. How can you sleep at night? How are you going to survive it, being next to a rogue state? These are fundamental questions.
You see, when they said that if you come out, for example, in Lagos and some places, the police were actually threatening that if you come out, they are going to stop you. They were doing all this, their usual, right? Do you see a chance again? Sure. Because people have said that revolution must be spontaneous. It is unplanned. It will happen. But do you ever see that same spark of October 2020? Because a lot has happened since then. No? We are using this week to seek justice, to remind them that those who died deserve justice and those who killed them deserve punishment, right? But do you see any spark that could bring back such moments that people could seek? I mean, grab again. Did you ever? Because you are there and you have been virtually through everything. Oh.
So let me tell you, when NSAS came, nobody expected. Nobody expected it. That's when Geo Scott Heron, an American poet and singer, said the revolution will not be televised. I believed it. We were all agonizing that Nigeria was in need of a spark, but there was BB Niger, that is the Big Brother Niger. That show that takes Nigerian youths away from anything conscious, political consciousness.
They were mourning on Clubhouse 2 days ago.
Yes. And then there was also, of course, the English Premier League. All this distraction happening. And then suddenly BB Niger stopped. and the English Premier League was going on. And then something happened in Ugeli in Delta State. A police officer was chasing somebody, and somebody took a video of it and said, "Oh, look at SARS again, they have killed people." They showed the guy falling, he fell inside the sewage.
Out of the car.
Yeah, thrown out of the car. And that's what sparked it. Nobody expected it. When it will happen again, the reason I'm telling you is that the next spark, as long as there's discontent in this society, we will not know where the next spark will come, but another spark will still come. Because now people have found their voice or voices somehow. And a lot more people are finding courage. Just like in Lagos, the police announced that nobody should come out. They announced nationwide, you can't come out for NSAS. Then some of the NSAS leaders went and organized an indoor event at the Landmark Center, a swanky event center in Lagos, one of the best, probably in Nigeria. The Nigerian government followed them there to go and tell the owner of the place that if you allow NSAS event to happen here, that's the end of your event center.
Your business.
And they shut down the events. We said we are not doing indoors. We are going to, because people were killed outdoors, we will celebrate it outdoors. As of this evening, I just heard, and I posted on my Facebook before I came on your show, that the police have now agreed in Lagos, particularly in Lagos, to protect NSAS protesters who want to go and commemorate NSAS. What does that tell you? That if you dare to struggle, you dare to win. That's what Chairman Mao said as a quote. If you don't dare these people, you can't get your liberation.
You would never.
They wanted to cow everybody. And that's why I'm telling you that the spark will come again. Because one thing you can also count on the Nigerian leader for, or Nigerian leaders for, is that they are so prone to mistakes that will bring their downfall. It's as if they are programmed to make mistakes.
I know.
It's only that the Nigerian masses haven't just come to that point where we understand how to take advantage of these mistakes. Otherwise, we would have become free long time ago. I know where we were headed in 1993, and we would have gotten rid of all these people by now. But we failed because of this division at that time too. At the point, it's the June 12th thing has become a Yoruba struggle, and some people in the Southeast started following Abacha. The Northerners followed him. They said they want another election. When Abacha did a few years, 5 political parties merged and said they want to choose Abacha as their.
They actually chose him.
They chose him. And then he suddenly died. And nobody was strong enough, because we had become sufficiently weakened, to ask for the release of Abiola. Even Adeko did not immediately ask for the release of Abiola. They went to Abuja and started discussing political transition program when their candidate was still in detention. Nobody told me this. This is something I know, Maiyegun. So when you hear from us, we have known about the Nigerian perfidy when we were very young. I knew about it since I was in my 20s. So people who have just known about it now might find it difficult to believe. And by the time they believe, it's too late. It's not arrogance. It's just that when you have experience, you have experience. And if somebody is bringing some BS around you, some of us have BS detectors. So when we see the BS, we can tell you in advance that this is BS, even though it might be decorated as a flower to some people. That's what this whole transition program now is about. All this PVC, go and get your PVC. Before you know it now, all the superstars will be asking you and blackmailing you with PVC. Yeah. But ask them, if I vote and my vote don't count, what are you going to do for me? They will be looking at you. Yes, because the government is going to release money. NGOs are going to be giving money. The international community who likes to keep Nigeria the way it is, foundations will create baskets of funding, millions of dollars. The campaign will be on every radio station.
How Nigeria is going to great again, how all of us should come together as one country, how we should
Go and
differences.
vote. Go and vote.
Just go and
But
vote.
ask yourself, the people who are voting, look at the congresses that happened in APC yesterday in your state.
They were shooting
In your
themselves.
state, they were shooting themselves.
Former
You want to
governor
go
and present governor supporters.
so you want to go and compete with that person? That's not an election. That's just party congress. So if a governorship is at stake, what are they going to shoot? Bazookas? And you think they're going to stop shooting simply because you have a PVC?
You want to vote or because you have PVC?
Yeah, yes. They're going to. So if they want to shoot you, you say, "Oh, here is my PVC." They say, "Okay, sorry." Just like some people naively thought that if you had the Nigerian flag, the army would not shoot you at Lekki toll gate. I told them the Nigerian army doesn't know the color of the Nigerian flag. Why would they care about your flag? They have been abusing the flag since it was created. Okay, and that's what exactly they did.
Sure. The last part I'm going to ask, which you can really elaborate.
You and I have a 1 hour plan.
No, I know, and that's me now coming to the close. Okay, I won't, I won't forgive myself if I don't ask this question before you go. Okay, and it has to do with the surprised appearance of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu in Nigeria. You are one of those first people who got the hint when he landed in Abuja, even though he's been kidnapped for like a week, tortured in Kenya for like a week. And nobody got to know about it all over the world until he appeared in Abuja. Did you see him in that court that day with those hooded guys who came in?
I before I arrived at the court, they are taking him away.
Oh, have they?
But yes. They drove him in, quickly got the judge to validate their fraud of his detention, and they drove him away through the back. I know how they drove him in and out, because that's how they drive me to court in those days when I was detained there. I wish that I was there on time. I could have tried to force myself into the court and even fight them to take the hood off his head. That was why I went back to court on his next date of appearance, but he didn't bring him to court. And this time around, we are going back on Thursday this week to court, and they are encouraged.
Do you think they will bring him? Yeah. Do you think they will bring him?
I'm not sure they will, but it will be in their own interest that they bring him to court. It will be in their own interest, but I'm not sure they will bring him. I'm not sure. I cannot vouch for them bringing him.
Sure. In the next few days, we are all going to be emotionally glued to our different screens, watching many of you in Nigeria who are doing a lot to keep the memory of those who died last year alive. What will be the next for us after this?
You know, one of the things I keep telling people is never to stop keeping their eyes on the ball. What is still delaying our liberation is our lack of cooperation. We still haven't gotten to that place where we can cooperate. If we could cooperate now, this would not be as bad as it used to be.
Say that cooperation that you are talking about in a more clearer term for us, like because we are looking at cooperation between who?
Yes, it's for all the oppressed forces, social movements in the country to come together. We don't need to come together under one umbrella, but we can come together under one objective. That is to break the back of oppression. And afterwards, come together to discuss our future, the future we want.
Yes.
And the future would include people who want to go, keep a clause in the constitution that says, if these certain conditions are not met, we leave without even telling you. You understand? People who don't want to go, if the certain conditions are not met, we leave. If we want to have a loose federal government, because we have a unitary government now, so this is what we send to the center, and this is what we keep for ourselves in terms of our resources. That's what people call, what's it called? The one that is more popular than less, the one that the people who ask for.
You're talking about the article of
restructuring. Sorry,
restructuring.
But I personally feel that we are past the stage
now.
of restructuring. Nobody, because restructuring will mean that we still go back to the people who are oppressing us to restructure the country. You know, like people stole your clothes and you take it back to them and say, you know, you go to them and say, give me back a piece of my clothes, you know, without getting back your clothes. Instead of immobilizing to the house and breaking into it and taking your properties back for them, you say, please hand me back some of my property so that I can at least survive now. So we passed the stage of restructuring, we passed the stage of reform, whether it's electoral reform, economic reform, financial reform, cultural reform, agricultural reform. All these reforms, we have tried them before, they didn't work. They told us by the year 2020 that our vision will be clear because vision 2020 is, is very clear. But this is 2021, our condition is worse.
Poverty capital of the world.
We become the poverty capital of the world, the place where you're likely to die before you're 5 years old. We have a toilet paper as a national currency. We don't have any industries working. We don't have any investors coming here except the ones that come in and cash in and run away.
That's
through all those Euro bonds you're hearing about, they're just calo because we have the highest interest rates. It's like mortgaging your future forever to get the Euro bond. But that's why they're always oversubscribed. Who won't go on? If somebody tells you you can invest $5 and get $5 back in 6 months, why would you subscribe?
You know, check on the NSPA change, even though it looks like a scam to me, but is Nigeria not a scam now?
Nigeria is a scam. There's no question about it. The leadership in Nigeria is a scam. Nigeria, the leadership in Nigeria is a scam. There's no doubt about it. You know, there's no doubt about it. Except, but the point I'm making is that there's nowhere you go. There's no how you break away that you will not need good leaders to manage the breakaway republics. And the bad leaders in Nigeria will follow you to your own breakaway because you can't deny them of the citizenship of where they come from.
No, you can't.
Yeah, you don't have that right.
No.
So if you don't settle your differences where they are now, they will follow you with their machetes.
Deal with them right now. I wanted to say that before you go, show, right? Because you know, you can give us this last 2 minutes, all right, which is really, really appreciated, all right? Like, what do you think, or maybe I shouldn't put it that way, right? We are going to all be expectant that indeed there's going to be at a time a spontaneous revolution is going to, you know, spark up. We are waiting for the time we can say maybe people will get to their breaking point. I've actually seen a lot where I thought those times were a breaking point for the people. So as you leave us again today, before we see you again, show, what do you think the sound of that revolution should look like? Or what would the message sound like that people like me, people like others, especially those either for revolution now or for Biafra, for Oduduwa nation, there should be something that would tell us that I think this is the time that all of us needs to now embrace one ideology and get rid of this system. How do you think that's going to sound like? What do you think it's going to sound like that will get all of us to get on the line?
I think if we keep following the trajectory we're following now, we are beginning to speak the same language again. Because some of us have been advising and subtly warning that these people will strike the same way they strike, regardless of how you present yourself. We are starting to realize that that is the truth, that the character of the Nigerian state is not afraid to do bad, right? And they have done it to the Biafrans, even on a worse scale than they are doing to the Yorubas. They've done it to the Yorubas. They went to Sunday Igboho's house in the middle of the night. Everybody thought it was a joke. They shut up the place, killed 2 people, arrested whoever was left, including his cat, and took them to Abuja, paraded them, And do you know what they're telling you?
Mm.
You go fuck yourself. That's what they're telling you.
You can do nothing.
And you ain't shit, as Americans like to say. And that's what happened.
Mm.
What happened the next day? Nothing. Not even a protest happened anywhere in Yoruba land. That they killed 2 people in Igboho's house. The leader of
Sowore, they actually have the bodies of these people they killed, though. Do you know that? They are keeping their body. They release them.
They butchered one of them. They butchered one of them into pieces. They came out with knife and butchered them. Took their time to butcher him into pieces before they left. And they have not even released their body till today.
Mm-hmm.
They are telling you can do stuff, you can do shit, and you didn't do anything. So until that period that their own actions attract consequences from us, we are wasting our time. And it's united consequences. When I heard Igboho's house was attacked, I didn't have to call anybody. I went to work. When their people were detained, I practically broke through the SSS cordon to see the decay. They had hooded DSS men in front of the court, preventing people who are not accredited. I was the only unaccredited person who entered that courtroom that day. I took my camera out and filmed Lady K. When they saw that I filmed them and spoken to them, they then allowed them to go out of the courtroom to go and use the toilet. Because they know there was nothing hidden anymore. But do you know what was disappointing to me? And I'll say it tonight.
Yeah.
I didn't find any Yoruba activists in court that day that I know, except families of those guys and us. We should have shut down that court that day with all the razzmatazz we do online. Are there Yorubas in this Abuja? There were some 4 Yoruba guys that came, but they weren't sure what to do. They just heard about it. It was me and revolutionary people that were there. They had a machine gun placed in front of the Federal High Court. We went through the place. We're not afraid of them. But if we're large in numbers, I'm sure that the judge would have seen it or heard about it, that there's a large crowd downstairs, and his ruling would have been different because, court rulings sometimes pander to public opinion. I'll tell you that. Yes.
Right. We are all in it. Even those of us who are not in Nigeria, sure. Right? And we'll continue to count on those who have put their lives on the line. Somebody like yourself. Because one of the reasons why I thought they don't trust you was because they always see you as an elite. Somebody who came back from America, who had it all. Why is he coming here to stay with us? Why can't he just go and live his life? He's just lying to us and all of that. I actually usually believe that's the mistrust part. But I've realized that it's more than that when you've now shared the light more. That most of those distrust and those promoting them are actually paid by by this government and many other governments.
If you know how much money they spend on creating animosity towards people like us, Falana, they don't stop. That we are alive at all is just luck, sheer luck. They spend time, energy, they spend people. Go to my page on Facebook. They have people who are resident there. If I post at 2 a.m., they wake up. They have notification of all my posts, and I love it. That's why I don't block them, because the page is also a university to learn about when the revolution will happen. They'll be notified.
To track of all the atrocities when the revolution finally happens as well.
Yes, and they will catch up with all of them, because they are also the people who are supporting these atrocities are also creating paper trail. When
thank you so much. As usual, Maiyegun's Diary Politico, we would love to keep you all night. Okay. But as much as you are so difficult to get hold of, the only people who seems to always get your attention are the people oppressed by the Nigerian system. Because the moment you hear that, they don't even have to call you. But we are so grateful that you found time to be with us tonight.
Let me say before we go that people should keep fighting for the release of Lady K. They want to break her down. I met with another group earlier. I was so sad. A video of her mom was shared with me. it was just so heartbreaking. I don't want to say much more. But any one of our people that are held up by this unjust criminal system, we must fight to get them out. And we can do it. You have the capacity to do it. Sometimes it's just the volume of noise we make on Facebook makes a lot of difference. Don't fail to do that. And finally, let me invite all of you to NSAS commemoration on Wednesday. And for those of our IPOP brothers, let's meet in court on Thursday. Hopefully, I'm still alive by then.
Well, you seems to have become something that, in fact, right, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, yourself, and a couple of others are those that some people believe that if anything happens to you, this could trigger that revolution enough that some people don't, even though we don't wish anything happens to all of you, okay? But yes, you'll be alive, and we'll continue to wish you well. Sure. Thank you so much, and my regards to all the guys, the crew, everyone right there in Abuja that have been keeping up with you in the past 1 year, if not more, right?
2 years.
They couldn't you psychologically. Here you are. 2 years now. 2 years. So sure. What would be?
And in 2 years, they broke my nose.
That's you. I know.
Yeah.
You were in court. 2 days ago or 3 days ago.
Yeah. I was shot,
That's the same,
I was shot by a policewoman. I went to sue her a few days ago. And in these 2 years, they killed my brother.
They did.
Yeah. So, guys, good night.
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much. And then I wouldn't mind, by the way, okay, because it's like Osh right now. What would be the parting message for all of us as you say your goodbye tonight until we see again? Sure.
I'll just say, Africans unite, man, because we are heading out of Babylon. That is what Bob Marley sang before at one time. Black people unite because we are heading out of Babylon. This place is Babylon.
Short and simple. Sure. Thank you so much for your time. Enjoy the rest of the evening, and I'll keep chasing you. I get your attention again. Okay. Stay safe, comrade brother, Mr. President. By the way, have a good one. So that's a show. On our show tonight, Omoyele Sowore. For those who probably are just joining us, don't worry, you haven't really missed much other than you'd have to watch it again, okay? It's been an interesting conversation so far. We managed to touch as many topics as we could touch. But yes, you heard him. It's up to us. The suspicion, the distrust, the mistrust, and every other thing that these criminals have managed to use to keep us divided. All those things possibly are now irrelevant enough for everybody who really cares for freedom, for liberty, and the rest, right? To see that we should all be united in our oppression. They are oppressing us, you know that. So to come out of that, whatever we want out of it, yeah, until we bond together and face it. Thank you so much for your time tonight. I'm going to see you some other time. So before you go, my friends on YouTube, my friends on Facebook, you can give that thumb up under that video. Like that video, share it, watch it again and again. Okay? And I'm going to see you some other time. Good night.
Súnrakì. Maiyegun ti dé. Maiyegun ti dé. Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ Súnrakì. Maiyegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀ Súnrakì. Maiyegun ti dé. Lórí Facebook. Maiyegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀ Súnrakì. Maiyegun ti dé. Lórí YouTube. Maiyegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀ Súnrakì. Maiyegun ti dé. Bọ́ bàbá gbé wúrẹ́. Maiyegun máa bí. Àní ẹ̀ Súnrakì. Maiyegun ti dé. Díjọ́ ìgbádìyẹ. Maiyegun máa bí. Àní ẹ̀ Súnrakì. Maiyegun ti dé. Pẹ̀sìdó bá rúfin o. àní ẹ̀sùn rájì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Kí gómìnà kówó jẹ.
Maiyegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn rájì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Ọlọ́pàá tí ń darí bá.
Maiyegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn rájì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Aṣòfin tí ń rúfin òwò.
Maiyegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn rájì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Òkúra olóṣèlú.
Maiyegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn rájì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn rájì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn rájì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn rájì. Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn rájì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dèrò ní fi wọ́n níran o.
Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn rájì. Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn rájì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dèrò ní fi wọ́n níran.
Wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀ o, Maiyegun ó sọ pé wọ́n.